All right, so we have potentially like 15 minutes or 13 minutes or like actually like 22 minutes of an actual conversation. If you get to hear it, it's because everything went fine. If not, Izzy yet again, his internet decided to betray him, and the old man can't figure it out. But I digress. So if it gets a chance, you can get to hear the previous conversation. If not, then we'll figure that out too.
Damn
Anyways,
you, Spectrum. Damn you.
they're gonna get you now that you called them out.
Let's go. Hopefully they come and I get some better Wi-Fi service and stuff. They hook me up with some better Wi-Fi. Shit.
So continuation of what we are talking about
Yeah.
earlier. Um, do
Yes.
you recognize a person you were like even a year ago?
Honestly, I don't. I what I was saying before was I feel like I truly evolved. I mean, when I first joined the service, you know, I was always just hanging out in the streets and everything. I was playing basketball. The lingo was, just that they were they're wearing the baggy jeans and all this stuff. And then once I got in and went through basic training and everything else, like I really saw a totally changed person. Like the sir, ma'am, the respect for people, my the dress, the way I dress, sort of changed to be a little more conservative and stuff. Like and it was weird because when my first day in Germany, and all I knew was Brooklyn, so it was a huge culture shock. So it was like, man, how do I act around these people? Because there was only one way I knew how to act was just hanging out in the front stoop with the fellas and everything else, laughing, joking, cursing, and everything else. But here I am in Germany where, that's not how it flows down there. So it was like you can't go out to the bars or the restaurants and be like, yo, what's up, bro? What's good? What's going on? What the fuck? This, that. They're gonna look at you and be like, yo, who's this guy? What's wrong with this person? So I noticed how that my whole character, my whole presentation of how I present myself to people and everything else really, really changed from that. Even now in my 40s, like I feel like I'm still evolving. You know what I'm saying? Like I still feel like I'm maturing all the time and everything else, and just become more wiser, more knowing, more understanding. And I started to realize not to rush into things as much anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like time and listen to what other people have to say. Do the research on what people are telling you. You know what I'm saying? Like back in the days, if you told me LeBron is the greatest, but I'm be like, fuck that, you bullshit. That's wrong. You don't know what you're talking about, and that'd be it. Like there was no like, okay, why? You know what I'm saying? So like, I involved just in maturity and everything else, just to have more understand and learn from people as whatnot. You
Mhm.
feel like you've evolved? You feel like you changed?
I
I
mean,
feel like
yeah,
you've changed. I feel like from what I knew you in Hondo and everything else, I feel like your mindset really expanded and grown more. Because I think you were just more younger too. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Compared to the way
younger,
you are now.
yeah. I mean, definitely younger, for sure. Dumber, like completely that way. But also, I think a lot of times what happens for us, man, is like the understanding of time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like because like there's somebody younger that I'm talking that I'm friends with, and it's kind of like going to that thing of like 30 days for me means a lot different to me to somebody who's 25, right? Who's 10 years
Right.
younger than me because they haven't experienced enough 30 days. And
Right.
even you're almost in your 40s, so 30 days means a little bit more to you than me because you have more time, more experience with 30 days.
Right.
Like now, someone says, "Hey, it's going to take you 30 days to do this." You're like, "Okay, cool." It's not that long. It's actually really fast.
Yeah.
But to someone who's, a teenager or someone who's 25, who's barely getting their life going, 30 days might seem a lot because the reference of time, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's the biggest
Yeah.
deal sometimes. And like kind of what you're going back to, like being more patient and more understanding of people. I think it's because you got more time to like have a
Yeah.
conversation, and
Right.
it just, you also understand it takes time to develop the conversation as well.
Right. See, my
So,
whole thing was that I felt like me as an individual, like I had to open myself up to listen to people. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm grateful that I have mentors. To me, I feel like that's a word that's becoming very rare nowadays because not many people can say they have that. Like not many
mm,
people can say, "Yo, I looked up to this person," or this guy was an example to me and everything else. I feel like that's sort of deteriorating nowadays, you know. And it's like I feel like the individuals are not taking the time to be more open to other people, to allow them to show them, you know, teach them, pass on their experience, their knowledge, and everything else. And I felt like that was one thing that I felt like I needed to change was it wasn't just all about me. How can other people help me if they're willing to help me? You know,
Hmm.
how people extend their arms, you know, let me grab it, let me see what can it do for me. And I feel like some people just shut them out and be like, oh, I know what I'm doing, I got this, I could do this. But I think, like you said, it definitely comes with time and experience, but at the same time I feel like the individual needs to be more open to that, you know.
Yeah. Well, also too, man. Like when you're dealing with somebody younger, like, or even you and I, when we first met, that was like 10 years. Like I was 25 in my
Mm-hmm.
20s, 24, 25, and I definitely acted a certain way that was representative of a 24, 25-year old, right? Like kind of like
Right.
ridiculous of, but now you're talking to a 35-year old who when something happens, I'm not looking at the moment. I'm looking at 5, 10, 15 years of how does this help us or how does this affect us or whatever. And so I think that's different too. Like I said, me back then, the way I was acting, no, I was not thinking about even the ride home.
Yeah.
I was only thinking about
See,
Honduras and that weekend.
yeah, but I feel like when you were with us, honestly, like your work ethic was more better than another 24, 25-year old that would have been in my home unit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I felt like your the way you were taking pride into your work and everything else, I is because of who was around you. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Like I felt like with me, Ray, everybody else that used Nori, you know what I'm saying? Like you were surrounded by people that were always wanted to do good things, change for the better, and make sure everything worked
Yeah.
well. Whereas if you, like I told you about, you know, the one E9 that I had when I was overseas, if I had a bunch of people like that working around, I would have been the 25. Like said, fuck this, you know, like I don't want
Right.
to do none of this shit. You know what I'm saying? But then again, that was you allowing yourself to open up to want us to teach you, you know, for you to learn, and for you to be like, hey, I'll take care of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'll do the administration, I'll set up the slides, I'll do whatever and everything. But when I nowadays, I've been in some bases where the airmen are just like, hey, can you just take out the trash? And that's a
Hmm.
problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't. They're like, why do I have to do the trash? You
Yeah.
know?
Well, I think it's also a reference of like, kind of my thing was, man, like the reason why I came in the military was I had an ex girlfriend who said she was pregnant. Like, I mean, I had a really quick realize, like, and that's why even now to this day, when I tell people where I'm from, I'm very proud of where I'm from because not because it's an amazing place, it's a
Right.
place where not a lot of people get out, and
Yeah.
the only reason why I'm very proud of that is because I like to like remember where I'm from. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I'm not supposed to be here, and I kind of like I tell my wife this. This is my biggest motivation. I'm not supposed to be in my position in life. I mean, no dad in my life, single mother, food stamps, the whole thing where you
Mm-hmm.
turn on the light, it doesn't come on, you automatically know the electricity.
Right.
That type of like that kind of like upbringing, and I think of like everybody else's story, right? Like
Right.
it's not new, but it's a common one for where I come from. So for me, it's like, man, if you remember where you come from, you remember what you're supposed to have in this life, because statistically and all that stuff, like certain people live up to that thing. So I think it's just for me, man, it's to remember where you're coming from, and that's why even then, like I got arrested when I was 15 for marijuana. So for me, like I remember that, like, feel my life was over. So I think for me, that's what's helped me out a lot throughout the years, and especially now is I'm not supposed to be here, and really for the Air Force, I was so grateful because that was the first time I actually had a male role models in my life, and they would not let me get away with nothing. Like they'd put a foot up my ass,
Right.
and
And I
they
think
were.
I think that applied as well, you know, when we were in the service, because I used to always tell people, as you progress in the ranks and you go up to E6, you know, E7 or whatnot, don't forget where you started from though. Remember
Hmm.
E2 and E3 in that position.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I feel
Right.
like with me that view, that outlook always carried with me, because I feel like you can even do it in the civilian world. As you get a job, you get to that GS 12, 13, whatever. At the beginning you have to start at GS 7 or whatnot. You get your foot in the door and then you work your way up. But when you get up there, why are you gonna shit on those below you when you started from there? That's
Yeah.
not, to me. I don't feel like that's the right style of leading or supervision or anything like that. And that's why I always tell people, when you progress, just remember, like you said, remember your roots, remember where you came from, your upbringing. But to me, that also applied within the rank structure. Remember where you started, man. We all started at the bottom, and now you work your way up. And when you get up there, take care of the people below you, man.
So are you listening to Drake right now and then printing out the lyrics to his song
No.
so you could like talk about that stuff?
Need to put like a background behind me, so I need to
It's like
cover it out.
it's like just orange lighting, a New
Yeah.
York hat, and it's like then you hear printers like, what, is he in a cafe or something like that? Like, what's going
That's
on in life?
that's what it is. The Starbucks Wi-Fi is not working for me right now.
You're like that guy if you go like somewhere and be like, "Hey man, you just retired from the Air Force," and see him be like, "Nah, I'm good, man. Like, I'll take my chances on the outside, man."
is that is that
Bye.
people next to me don't understand that I'm just talking to you and we're doing a podcast. They're like, fuck
Yeah,
it, just let me print while he's talking.
yeah. Some
So
guy just reaching over. Excuse me, I'm
yeah,
sorry. I need
they're
that real
like,
quick.
yo, I'm the next customer in line to use the printer, man. Let me get on this.
Next thing
So,
you hear the barista come up to you and be like, "Sir, if you don't order a drink, you're gonna have to go." Like, Jesus Christ, man, get it together,
hold on,
Izzy.
I only got 5 minutes. Oh, bro, let me just finish these 5 minutes.
It, yeah, you're
I
definitely
think
the
we're done printing. I think
yeah.
we're done printing now.
You're definitely the ad for like the the service doesn't want you to have. Be like, this is what it looks like when you retire. Like, no, not everybody, but good amount. Like, you're like, Jesus, I'm good, man. I'm done. Like,
This
I
is the
already heard
good
about the
life
bad
right here.
knees.
This is the good life right here, baby. The good life.
How
Fucked
you
up
don't even got
rotator
internet,
cuffs, bad knees, lumbars jacked. This is the good life right here.
dude? Like one of my favorite things I like to do with older people is I'll go up to them and we'll like compare knees. And so like I'll start like like you kind of bend your knee a little bit.
Right.
And the best part is when you have like older people kind of look at your knees and be like, goodness gracious, man, like Jesus, like
Are
how are
your
we
knees
how are we the
jacked?
same? Huh?
Are your knees jacked?
Yeah, man, I got
Are
bone
they?
spurs. So,
Oof.
yeah, doctor said I got bone spurs in my knees, and I have like it looks like I'm gonna have like either I do right now or I will have arthritis in my knees. So,
Was the option knee replacement? Like put some
well,
metal plates? Oh,
it depends if
or
you're talking about the VA because the VA they still it's like we're good, man. I don't see nothing there. Like you still got a knee,
yeah, it's true. They don't care. The BA's like, yo,
dude.
you're good. Here's some Motrin still, and see you
So
later, man.
you want to hear like a really funny but kind of fucked up thing that I think happened
Yeah.
to me at the VA?
What's up? The
So
fucking
like
VA.
right like my but so like I went Monday and I had my physical like I had my mental health, right? So it's like my monthly mental health check. And you remember how I told you like last week, like, hey, my friend died 10 years and we're talking about Afghanistan. I was like, hey, it doesn't really bother me.
Right.
Well, the next day I woke up in like in a weird funk, like just funk. Like I just and it wasn't like a funk of like, the world, like a Eeyore type shit, but it was a funk of like numb. Like I just don't care. And so
Yeah.
I was down, right? And so I go in for my monthly checkup for the VA. And so
Okay.
she's like, my therapist is asking me, and I'm just like, kind of like I'm numb, right? I don't really give a fuck that day.
Right.
And so like, I'm sorry, I just don't care right now. Just all these things are going on right now. I just feel numb.